So welcome back, and this is the last session of the day. And it's the session about the Federation of iSpaces, Federation of Data Experimentation Infrastructures and Ecosystems. So we've been listening about this during the whole day, and we were waiting for this session to know more. And I have the pleasure to welcome back again on stage to Nuria de Lama, and also to Daniel Alonso, who is coordinating the UHAS for Data project. And they are going to moderate this session that is divided in two parts. And I hope you enjoyed this session very much. Thank you. I leave this for you?
Yes, it's okay. Well, some of them are not. No, say a few words on them. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. And first, I would like to emphasize some of the comments from my colleagues before. We are really happy to see all of you here. We in UHAS for Data, I am talking as coordinator of the project, as co-organizer of this event. Everything is about collaboration, and probably collaboration is one of the words more pronounced today after data, AI, data spaces. Probably collaboration, federation are one of the words more pronounced. So really happy to be here to see real collaboration in practical physical collaboration. And again, also really happy to have many of the species together with us after so many months of virtual work. And I can only say that thanks all for being here. Thanks for my colleagues of UHAS for Data and the Spaces for the hard work we are doing and preparing all these sessions. Now, Nuria you will explain basically the setup of this session that is divided in 2 slots, and later on we will start with the presentations.
Thank you very much, Danny. Danny is the boss. He's the coordinator of the EU Hubs for Data project. And in fact, the EU Hubs for Data project is putting quite a good amount of money to organize this event. So we are all here also thanks to the project, which is important to say. I think that I've been like 2 years organizing webinars and making virtual presentations, and all the time I complain because I can never see the faces of people. I don't have a clue if they understand what we are saying, what is the reaction, if they like, if they don't like, if they are into the topic, if they are reading emails or participating in other calls in parallel. But now that we have the people, I decided to change a bit the thing. I know that I'm risking not having any dinner today, but I will start maybe making some questions to some of the people in the audience. Since you don't make any question, I will do that myself. So this is a session about Federation of Data-Driven Infrastructures. And the first question would be if you know what a federation is or what you would expect from a federation. So let me check for some people that are not involved at all in the project and maybe try to check what they would expect for such a federation of data-driven infrastructures. David, you just made a presentation. Sergio has relaxed a bit. Sergio, come here, tell us a bit. What would you expect from a federation and what do you understand by a federation of data-driven infrastructures?
No, it is not planned at all. Thank you, Nuria, for your nice question. No, I think I'm coming the last years from the Digital Innovation Hub environment. So service is the key word in the Digital Innovation Hubs. And I believe that also a federation of experimentation infrastructure should provide services and should a bit wrap assets, wrap data sets, wrap competencies with a layer of services. And this will, in my opinion, enhance collaboration. Because to be a federation, we need a collaboration. And in order to collaborate, we need a lingua franca. We need something which is common in the different infrastructure. We need to speak the same language. And in my opinion, the language of services is the right language for cooperation among this experimentation infrastructure.
Thank you very much, Sergio. Maybe let's take another opinion. I come here. To you. So you also have experience in setting up competence centers. So I suppose this is a bit related to the topic we are addressing. What would you expect from a federated or a federation of data-driven infrastructures? What is it for you, and what would be good for you to obtain from that?
Actually, I think The session title says it all because we are talking about ecosystems. We are talking about very many different players. In order for these ecosystems to be effective and to enable all the players to contribute, so we need federation, we need to enable them to provide, as mentioned, various services. We also need to provide federation at the data level so that the organizations, people that don't feel unsecure to share their data, to keep the data to them, but at the same time to provide this data to enable this experimentation, analysis of data. So, and of course, the infrastructure technologies should provide all this. So I think the title says it all.
So let's see if this is basically what the federation is provided. Like this, we know basically what is the expectation from people. And Daniel, now you and the other experts from the project will tell us if basically EU Hubs for Data is fulfilling these expectations. So
What I can say.
With a short presentation of the agenda. In any case, Danny, if you want,
Sorry?
like this, because I think I have few slides about the structure of the session, and I call you in a moment. Okay. So let's see if we get the agenda. The first presentation. No, I think they have to upload it, no?
You have to chart the first slide deck.
Yeah, excuse me, can we have the first slides of the session? Perfect. So yes, is that I always like starting all the sessions telling you a bit about what you will get out of that. And I have created basically a couple of slides with the agenda. So the first thing we will see is what is the role of the IS spaces. You have heard this word several times today in the European data economy. To set up a bit the context for this, we will have Jeanette Nilsson from RISE. You know her, she was moderating very, very well one of the panels that we had today. Then I'm talking also about federation, not just digital innovation hubs or infrastructures in an isolated way. We are talking about federated infrastructures. So what does it mean? And especially, why do we need a federation? What is the added value? And of course, which are the challenges of creating this federation? For this, we have Daniel Alonso. You saw it. He's from ITI, and he's the coordinator of the EU Hubs for Data project. And then we will go through some technical challenges and especially main results of what the project has already done. I think this is especially interesting because we are not only talking about what we want to do in the future, but what it is already in place, which are the problems we have encountered and in which way these challenges have been addressed. For example, data interoperability. And for this, Andrea Mansi from EGI will tell us a bit about what is already available. And this is available for you. This is not for us. It's basically a lot of money that is being invested so that all of you, researchers, experimenters, SMEs, startups, but also the kind of organizations, you get used to that and we expect you to use it. So Andrea will tell us a bit about the federated catalog, the services, the data sets, which were mentioned before. So this is part of what we are offering, but also training. And I remember that this morning, the European Commission mentioned especially the topic of training and skills. So this is also something that the Federation is taking care of, and you will get to know exactly what we are offering. And finally, we thought it would be very interesting to have again Roberta, who was in the previous panel, so you know her already from Chineca, because they are taking care of the data management plan and the data security in the Federation. So we thought it would be very good to get the practical experience of an organization that is expert on that and understand how this is done. So I think that through this session, you will learn quite a lot of things. This is the first part. Then for the second part, the setting will be a bit different, and I will let Danny tell you later on what we are going to organize. So the second part, yeah, maybe I don't tell you now. You see a lot of logos here. This means that we will have a lot of people on stage, but I don't discover more things now. And I wanted to finalize this introduction with some key figures. I mentioned also before that it's important to measure things. And just for you to get an idea of what the Federation is offering, at this very moment, we are in month 18 of the project. Basically, we offer 160 data sources. We have 30 digital innovation hubs in the Federation, representing 30 regions, 20 member states. We have 24 SMEs experimenting in the context of the Federation, but we have already attracted more than 1,000 SMEs to the ecosystem. 13 innovations have already documented along these 19 months. And for example, you can already find 84 online courseware packages. So all this is available for you. All these experiments that we have been mentioning are not only consuming the data we offer through the federation, they are also generating new data sets. And what it is interesting is to see that, for example, some of these new data sets are generated from cross-border experiments. So all this is enriching the federation even more. So I wanted to provide the figures so that basically you get an idea of how the potential impact can dramatically increase when you put all people to work together. And I think that maybe the last figure that is quite impressive is 161 cross-digital innovation services already available. And I think, Sergio, you mentioned things that can create a lot of challenges, how to offer this in a federated way. And I suppose that today we will get more insights about the way this has been done in EU Hubs for Data. Without further delay, I would like to go directly to our first speaker, who is Janet, and you will tell us a bit what is the role of IA spaces in the data economy, and also what is the relationship between the IA spaces and these digital innovation hubs and EU hubs for data, no?
I think I will. Thank you, Nuria. It's always a pleasure to be with you, and you're always surprising and enthusiastic and having so much knowledge. So it's so great to be with you. So I'm all thrilled. So I'm going to talk a little about iSpaces, and this is me. This is when I actually had a prize in the first time I was in BDVA in Vienna, and I think this is a good picture because this is something that it's been actually a power in Europe. We have BDVA has been working since 2016, and this is a good picture of the coverage of what Nuria just said, but actually what have been has made a great impact. The Commission also said that today. And why do we make a big impact? It's because we just don't sit and wait. We do things together with others. We are in Europe, we are different. And that is something that actually gives us a lot of new experience. We work in different ways. We think different things are important, but we share and we work together. So that is something that is a strength. And this picture is so nice because it's always changing. This is all I recognize today. But this is something also that is a strength in the European economy. And when you're an iSpace, this is a picture of an iSpace that's called ICE. We have been actually, since the beginning, we were selected. And the difference between iSpace and hubs is that you actually have to be selected to be part of that. We were also, before this, we were a digital innovation hub. But the thing that has really been a good thing to be an iSpace is that it's a kind of a quality stamp. And that's something that we've been talking about in different areas today about data. So to be an iSpace, that's something that is really an asset. And that's something that we have in BDVA. And so this is what you see. And I hope we can be there in next year in Luleå. Because you see that's in the picture of the small houses in the archipelago in the middle of the night. I think this is a good picture to show also. I know that there is an even better one, but this is the EU Hubs for Data. And the iSpaces are a part of just being so successful of this. But if we're talking about the future and we're talking about continuing making an impact, because this is really important for Europe at this time to work together, to share, and also to develop. Then some of you saw the map that Thomas Hahn showed in the morning of different, iSpace is something that is specific for BDVA. We have this label, you get you have to apply for it, you have to have certain standards to become first bronze, silver, gold, and we are also seeing how maybe, I mean, for me, that's been part of a gold label for 4 years. We want to evolve to maybe to, I don't know, diamond or what the next step could be. But since it's changing so much, it's very also important to know what this stands for. So iSpace is a very good asset within the BDVA and also in policy making. And also the federation that will be talked about. I mean, from this, not maybe so easy to see, but I mean, there are a lot of hubs in the European Union, in the European countries, and we have different objectives. But if we work together, and that is also something that the EU Hubs for Data has shown, that we can really benefit from other expertise. We don't have to do everything ourselves. So to be, in the future, to be as important as we are today, we will continue doing this, working together with others, presenting papers, policies, making all the iSpaces evolve, deliver even more excellent services that are also going to be talked about in the catalogs. So it's going to be we combine a lot of the possibilities we have talked about today, about how to help SMEs. The European Digital Innovation Hubs will be a core part of that. iSpaces are often a part of that as well. So we must continue the good work that we have been doing. And next year we are going to present, I think even in the autumn, we are going to present some news about iSpace in BDVA. And I should just check if I wanted to say something. No, we have to step up. We have to continue doing this good work. So that's what's all for me. And back to you, Nuria.
So we've heard about the iSpaces. Something that is important to say is that we are not talking here about something that is fully established. Anyone who wants to join the ecosystem can request a label to become an iSpace. So if you are not part of that, but you are happen to operate a digital innovation hub, you think that you fit well with the topic and the concept, you fulfill basically the rules, and you want to apply, then you can also benefit from the ecosystem. And Danny, who will talk also about the federation, it's important to say that this is a project, but it's an ecosystem, again, that is fully open, and that we are really happy to welcome more digital innovation hubs to the federation, in the same way that this morning you heard about the opportunities for SMEs and startups that can apply to the open calls, and there will be additional opportunities so that you can really use the services. So it doesn't matter the role you play, if you are an SME, a startup, a company that wants to experiment with data, or if you are really the one that is operating the infrastructure, you have opportunities in both cases.
Yes, good point, Nuria. Actually, this is something that I was going to mention later on. Of course, every year BDVA is launching an open call for new iSpaces. So if you are interested and you want to be part of the community, you are invited to apply. The open call will be probably launched before summer, hopefully in June. And okay, as usual, the results will be announced before the BDVF, and the ceremony will be carried out in BDVF. So if you are interested, of course, you are welcome to apply. Contact us if you have any doubt about your scope, if you have the right profile. But in any case, please feel free to contact us, BDVA, or ourselves. So maybe now I can start my presentation very quickly, because as usual, we are running out of time. So as my colleague Danny mentioned this morning, the first iSpaces were recognized in 2016. And from the very beginning, collaboration was a big topic of the group. Okay, of course, the collaboration has been evolving during the years, and has been materialized in the project EU Hubs for Data. In EU Hubs for Data, we are really materializing the collaboration between all the iSpaces to really establish a federation, a real federation of iSpaces. I hope, hopefully, following the guidelines also that Sergio mentioned before, and our colleagues from Gates, from Bulgaria. But again, as Nuria mentioned, this is a project, and we are learning also on the fly, and again, materializing the collaboration in real and tangible results. But why to collaborate? Okay, of course, it's a clear answer. I think during the day, all of us has been discussing about the reason for collaboration, the main benefits for collaboration, and not going alone in this journey. But of course, there are very clear answers. It is true that we have the data in Europe, and I'm not discovering anything new. And these figures are from the European data strategy presented by the Commission in 2019, but the figures are still valid because the predictions are for 2025. So, of course, we know that we are generating a lot of data. Data are really helpful for companies to increase revenues and so on. So again, I'm not discovering anything when I say that we have the data. We have also the hubs, and also Sergio was mentioned before. He has been working with the DIA from the very beginning. It is a term coined by the Commission in 2015. And basically the main purpose of the DIHs, the Digital Innovation Hubs, is to bring innovation closer to the regional ecosystem, okay? To make SMEs available to SMEs the value that is generating at European level innovation and in other environments. In this case, we are talking about data, so we have the hubs to bring closer the value generating from data to the regional ecosystems. Of course, based on this concept of digital innovation hubs, there are a huge number of hubs working potentially in big data and AI in Europe. So here you can see the figures from the catalog of the Commission. So all of them are more or less working on the same way, again, bringing all the blogs to make value, data-driven value closer to the regional ecosystems. And finally, we have also the big data value PPP, and even though it is finished in 2020, some projects are still running. For instance, you have for data. And basically, the Commission has invested a lot to put in place all the mechanisms to, again, to bring closer this value from data to the SMEs and the regional ecosystems. But we think that there are still some hurdles, and this is basically the reasons why we are materializing this collaboration in the project, in the iSpaces group of the BDVA. In principle, most of the regional ecosystems are operating in an isolated way. So most of the hubs, and it's our case, we are focused on our regional ecosystems. We are giving support to our companies, and we are not caring a lot about what other hubs in Europe are doing. So again, a lot of innovation, but very related to the regional ecosystems. It means that there is not a real cooperation between regional hubs. Maybe some regional hubs in some countries are collaborating, but in general, it's not the rule. So there is a lack of real cooperation between the hubs in Europe. It means that the service of the offer of the hubs is constrained to the regional ecosystem. So it's quite related to the previous points. Data are not mobilized at European level, and this is something that we are, all of us, addressing in our projects, in these communities, but it is true that SMEs cannot benefit from this data at European level. So this is something that we are doing in EU Hubs for Data, because SMEs are not aware of data, neither at European level, but nor at other regions and countries in Europe. So it is also a must. And for that, SMEs cannot benefit from data-driven innovation at European level. So all in all, and of course, it is a very complex ecosystem, evolving every month, every year, and this is something that we are seeing today also. So here there are still some, again, those gaps that basically are at the core of the collaboration of the hubs of the iSpaces in BDVA. Of course, you have seen this picture several times today, but I think now it makes more sense, because I think with this picture, this figure, I think we are really addressing the previous challenges that I mentioned in the previous slide. So again, we are 36 iSpaces collaborating together, okay? It is important to mention that each iSpace is a whole ecosystem. So I think this is somehow addresses also the comments from Oscar in the previous slides. Probably it's not exactly data spaces, but we are data innovation spaces collaborating together, federating our assets, our services. So again, I think it really responds to some of the needs and ideas that were mentioned before. The catalog, and this is also something that is according to what Sergio mentioned before, the federated catalog is our main outcome. It's true that we have to stick to some kind of common language to all of us to collaborate together. And in this case, in EU Hubs for Data and BDVA iSpaces, we are testing several models, and we are open to check other models and to adopt other models as long as the hubs, the iSpaces agree on that. So the catalog is our main output, and in our case, the catalog shows very well this double dimension. On the one hand, all of us are collaborating at the European level, but on the other, each of us are particularizing the offer to each ecosystem based on our specific needs, our specific SMEs, and our specific environment. Of course, and the main point also the experiments. This morning you also heard from some of the SMEs, so those SMEs can benefit also for this catalog. And based on that, okay, we are basically the main overarching objective is to become the European reference for cross-border data innovation and experimentation. Something that you already heard this morning, but I would like also to emphasize, because now I think it's the right time to repeat this figure. Okay. it's not only about the catalog, okay? It's also about federating a whole ecosystem. And for that, we are, again, as I mentioned this morning, we are providing value to SMEs in the first place. I will not go into detail because I will also mention this morning about what we are providing to SMEs as startups and innovators. Of course, we are also providing value to other partnerships in Europe and not other alliances. And it's also something that Janet mentioned with all the hubs in the data spaces, Vinces Alliance, GaiaX, IDSA, FIWare. We are collaborating with each other. We are learning from each other. But in this case, we can provide an experimentation environment where, well, other partnership and alliances can have also their assets tested. Policymakers, okay, we are increasing competitiveness of the SMEs. We are working towards a common goal of creating public good, and of course, we are providing these instruments towards a European common data space. Researchers to support knowledge, to provide again an experimentation environment for where the researchers can test the models, can also check, use access to data to the specific data sets that are not usually available, and so on. And finally, the hubs, and this is also a call for all of you if you are interested to join us. The value for the hubs, I think, is also clear. So we can share best practices, knowledge, also access to sharing data, sharing services, incubator of new collaborative initiatives, and our marketplace. So again, the federated catalog on the one hand, the federated ecosystem on the other, and based on that, based on all these figures, I think we can say that we are more or less addressing the gaps, the challenges that I presented in my previous slide. So we are connecting regional ecosystems through the federation, okay? We are fostering collaboration among the hubs. And when I talk about collaboration, I talk about real collaboration, okay? We are collaborating together, sharing services, addressing the needs of the SMEs proposed by the experiments. So we can say that now we are doing real things in the project and materializing again the collaboration among the AI spaces that was established in the past. Okay, we are publishing all our assets at European level, so all SMEs can access and can discover services and data sets in our catalog. Again, with the same with the data sets. Okay, but again, this double dimension, European catalog, local offer, particularized to the needs of our companies, our SMEs. And finally, okay, SMEs are also connected to the European initiative and instruments. This morning, the Commission was talking about how the SMEs can be engaged. It's a must to be engaged in the data spaces. So this is something that we are also doing as part of our strategy. So that being said, okay, there are, as you can imagine, many challenges ahead of us, and we are addressing them in the project. I will not go very much into detail, but as you can imagine, we have a governance challenge because the group of AI spaces is growing every year. So we are defining all the pieces in the project to define a governance framework for the AI spaces, for the hubs. Again, with the organizational model, we are doing the same. More and more AI spaces are coming. So during the project, we are defining the model that we will apply once the project is done to rule the collaboration between the AI spaces and the hubs. Legal, defining the legal framework for the federation, and this is also very important according to the new pieces of regulation. For instance, the Data Governance Act, which is defining this data intermediary role. So we are trying to decide whether this role could apply also to the federation, to the hubs, pros and cons, constraints, and also implication of this role of data intermediaries to provide data sharing services. Ethical is gaining more and more importance in our project. So it is just a task, but it has become very important. We have an ethics monitoring group in the project. We have also an ethics external advisor, and we have defined a whole process to assess ethically all the experiments or the catalog, the data sets, and all the activities in the project. So again, we are learning a lot, but again, some challenges ahead of us. Evolution and scalability, again, more AI species are coming, so we have to define a model that evolves in time in a smooth and efficient way. Sustainability, and finally, the technical challenges that, of course, as you can imagine, are also a piece of the puzzle. And I think with this last point, technical challenges, it's a very nice teaser to the rest, to my colleagues, Andrea and Roberta, who will explain with more detail just some of the challenges that we are addressing and how we are more or less solving these issues. So I was very quick, as usual.
Very fast. Thank you very much, Dani. Maybe just a comment. You have mentioned ethical issues. Today, we cannot go into the details of the ethical issues, but this is, as Danny mentioned, a very important part of the project where we found a lot of interesting things. In fact, in the review of the project, we were recommended by the European Commission to really create a kind of service or product out of that because of the value it has. We have assessed all the experiments from the ethical point of view with the advisors that Danny has mentioned, and this is something that most projects have not done before. So we will really be working on that. Maybe if you are interested in this topic, because we don't have the experts, all the experts of the project here with us in the data week, but if you are interested in the topic, I recommend you to go to our website, and there you will see the link to the data forum, which is another event that we organized quite recently in the context of the LILEC conference with K11. And there we discussed quite a lot about ethical and legal implications of the Data-Driven Federation. And there you can really get access to the presentations and even the recordings, if I'm not wrong. So I really encourage you to go there and maybe even reading the deliverables when they are available, because they are very, very important piece of knowledge, I would say.
Yes, you're right. Let's see how we can manage with the ethical mandate from the Commission. Yes, let's see how we can manage with this ethical mandate from the Commission, because they put a lot of importance in this aspect. Also, we are publishing really soon our first ethical report as deliverable, so I think it will be also a nice piece of information, but of course, we are open also to learn from each other. So if you, probably some of you are also working on ethics, applied to data-driven innovation, please contact us if you think that you can provide also something to us, and we can organize a workshop or whatever, because again, we are also learning on the fly. And yeah, it's a very hot topic for the Commission and also for all of us.
And since the federated catalog is such an important asset of the project and is not something we will build in the future, it's already there. We have called our colleague Andrea Mansi from EGI to go deeper into the technical aspects of the federated catalog so that you get to know exactly what is included there. So Andrea, the floor is yours.
Thanks a lot, Nuria. And so I'm going to, as said, describe a little bit the Oxford Data Federated Catalog. I'm Andrea Mansi from the EGI Foundation, Netherlands. So describing what is available now, so some numbers have been already given by Nuria before, and then what are the technical challenges and the main results that we at this moment at the project, so in terms of service delivery framework, asset identification and synchronization, harmonization and interoperability, and then what will be the next steps till the end of the project. So when we talk about federated catalog, this is something that also Daniel has shown before. So we have like 3 catalogs in one. So we have the dataset services and trainings and course catalog. This is, as I said before, are available at European level. But the main feature of the catalog is that the assets can, of course, be used at the regional level and instantiated by the different DIHs that are participating to the federation. In terms of services, for both service and datasets, we have published 2 different versions of the catalog corresponding to the open call of experiments. So the first one has been in November 2020, and we had 90 services from 12 DIHs published there. And then for the second open call that was held in November 2021, we have updated the catalog, collecting also services from new 9 DIHs that have been onboarded during the 2021. So reaching the 160 services there. So when we talk about services, of course, we talk about technological services, infrastructures, but also business development and ecosystem building services. So we have categorized them according to three tiers. Tier 1 is type, tier 2 the services, and then the examples. When talking about datasets, also the same. We had 2 updates of the service catalog. So we had the one for the best open call, which include the 17 data sources, and then another one at the 2021 for the set of open calls that reached 160 data sources, including also the assets from 9 DIHs. And finally, for the courses catalog, we had the first version published in 2021, and with the 84 courses from the old DIHs of the project, with mainly dealing with the machine learning, data science, and big data application and design. So when we talk about the dataset that is available on the website, of course, this is a static collection of datasets from a different different DH is part of the catalog. What in parallel, of course, we had started and the activity in order to build a real federated catalog with, of course, all the challenges that you can imagine. So first of all, try to understand what is the service delivery framework, the services that are available there, and how we deal with the asset identification, synchronization, harmonization. First of all, trying to understand what are the workflows for pushing new data sets or the access in general to the catalog and synchronize the DH local offer. And we're talking about data sets also, what are the activities to the challenges in terms of harmonization and classification, but also it's not only, building a catalog, but also building a space between all the sources that are available and the services that are available there. And so data space means also that we should also build a trusted data exchange environment for the between the different DIHs. And we try to exploit the IDS model in the federation, also because with the help of IDSA, which is part of the project. First of all, so for the service delivery framework, one main achievement. So we try to initially understand what are the challenges and requirements for the federation and the procedure for a smooth service delivery in the DDH federation. And first of all, defining what will be the procedures that will be implemented during the project. The first one that I'm going to present today is the synchronization of the assets. And we come out also with the federated catalog components architecture. So the different components that have been developed and or are the implementation for the synchronization of the assets, for the enrichment, for instance, of the metadata or the harmonization, and also for the access to the different assets, either their portal or the training courses. So the first components that is quite important in this regards is the catalog manager. This is a software that has been developed in order to collect and synchronize the assets of the federation. It's basically common for all the different assets that we have, so services, data sets, and trainings. So it's an agent that is deployed at each DH in order to input the different assets that are available for their local ecosystem. There is a implemented mechanism to synchronize the local instances, and also with the graphical interface, we'll have the possibility to input and decide which assets are going to be federated. The DH with the graphical interface, of course, can manage the local assets and also share the local offerings with the rest of the federation. So I put some screenshot of the software that has been developed. So in HDH, through this component, we'll have the possibility, for instance, to add an asset, in this case, to add the assets, to add the data sets. There is possibility also to, of course, check what are the assets available and decide which will be shared with the rest of the federation. And then, of course, understand with the communication mechanism and that I said before, the assets that are federated and that are available to the rest of the DHs. For the part of the metadata harmonization and the dataset catalog, so once the datasets are synchronized using the catalog manager, there is an activity to map this metadata through from different DIHs through analogous metadata from the IDS model ontology. We have also developed used some libraries, models, semantic similarity methods to populate the knowledge graph from textual descriptions. And the enriched metadata for this are pushed into SICAN, which is one of the software that we have chosen to basically implement the federated dataset portal, where the asset from the federation, in particular the dataset in this case, will be discovered. In terms of interoperability and data sharing, we started at the beginning of the project to develop and customize also IDS connectors in order to deploy the connectors at each DH part of the federation. We used, in particular, the data space connector that has been developed by Hannover. And we have also used some components for trust developed by TNO, so the CA and the DApps. And we had already some first solution from the different DIHs in order to integrate the data space connector with different backends. And we plan, of course, given that these are available now for at the start of the second open call of the project, we plan to exploit those components in order to implement the data sharing during the experiments. This is an example of the IDS topology that we have now and the different DIHs that are using IDS and deployed at their premises as connectors. So as I said, we use identity provider, the federation, in order to identify and authenticate organizations and components. All the different DIHs, their own identity, and via the graphical interface, the identities can be easily requested by the users. And those datasets, for instance, that are available via IGA connector, the IDS connector, can also share via the catalog manager that I said before. So the catalog manager will, in a way, so basically the DIH will use the catalog manager to propagate the datasets that are available via DS or datasets that are also made available via a repository that they have in their premises or also open data repositories. And finally, we also, part of the federated catalog, we also have the learning management system. This is something that is going to be available now after the summer. It has been developed in order to have a central catalog for all the trainings of the federation, in order to give also visibility to the different trainings that are available in the DH of the federation, and also as a tool for the DH that would like to use a learning management system, but they don't have it in their local offer. So it's a tool that has been offered from the federation to the different DHs that are part of the US for data. And lastly, this is the work plan for the second period of the project. So what we are going to deliver to the end of the 2023. So we have a new version of the catalog that is going to be delivered in September for the third open call of the project. And we'll have also the LMS in production. In February, we will complete all the developments related to the catalog manager and integrate with the rest of the components of the infrastructure. And we also complete the developments in the area of metadata enrichment and harmonization and the pipeline to update the catalog metadata. And in June, we plan to complete the integration of IDS with all the DIHs that are member of the project. At the moment, as I said, as shown before, half of the DIHs are using IDS, but this is something that this task will complete in June 2023. And we'll also use IDS together with the enforcing of usage control policies. And of course, this, during the whole duration and till the end of the project, we will liaise with the external initiatives to extend the catalog with the external assets in order to improve the offering that is currently available. And thanks a lot. And this ends my talks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You made a very comprehensive presentation. I would like to know if maybe someone has any doubt, because I think this was a quite technical perspective of what the project is offering. It didn't tell you anything, Roberta. Any question, any curiosity? As you can see, the good thing of the project is that it's really a deployment project. So we already went through the real challenges of real life and had to solve that. And when we talk about the sustainability of the federation, this is also because this will be a product. And I think that Andrea mentioned that very well. It's like a product roadmap and not a European research project that will finish and then nothing will be left. So I think that is the important thing, that this will be available for usage by people, and that is already available. So maybe if there are no questions for this particular thing, I would really like to encourage the people that are here, if you're really interested in the topic, to go to the EU Hubs for AI website, have a look at the catalog, start playing a bit with that and check if that satisfies your needs. And if that is not the case, maybe we would appreciate very much some feedback about that, no? To learn and to do it better.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Andrea. And then, Roberta, as we mentioned before, I think that you have also an incredible experience about data management and data security, and coming from a center like Chineca, I think that we will all learn a lot. So we are really eager to listen to your presentation.
Okay, so the practical implementation of a data management plan in EU apps for data has two big challenges. The first one is that the project doesn't manage data directly, with the exception, obvious, of the project management data. Instead, it manages data set on one side, that is data at a higher level through the common catalog, and it manages experiments. That is where actually data are used and produced. And the other challenge is that the actors that are involved in a data management plan, those that actually provide access, security, ethics, compliance, and so on, are the DIHs, mainly for the catalog data sets, the SMEs, mainly for the experiments, and external data providers. And external data providers are the majority of the providers, both in the catalog data set, I must say, and also in the experiments. So this is a problem because, of course, we don't have control over external data providers. So these are the two main challenges, and let's start to see how we dealt with the experiments, data management plan. So in the first open call, a detailed description was asked to each experiment of each single data set that was going to be produced or collected, used, and processed inside the experiment. And this was done with a template. The main scope was to assess if there are metadata in each single data set, metadata, usage of standards, and so on, with a special focus on the sharing policies, because we encouraged very much the data sharing, at least of a subset of the data produced. And we were successful in the end because of the 27 data sets that were produced by the experiments, only 1/3 is not going to be shared at all. Another third is going to be shared with restrictions, and the last third of the data set is openly accessible. So it's not a bad result in my opinion. For the second open call, we are going to ask also a data management plan for each experiment. We actually already asked for that. So a data management plan will define the main strategy of the experiment. And the SME can do that also using the OpenAir Argos tool, which has the advantage that it is complete. So they will not have to do a data management plan on their own, and also the description of each data set, but using the Argos tool, it's the only request in this case. It is complete, and it guides through all the steps of making a data management plan which is accurate. So this is for the second open call. And regarding the dataset catalog, as a general strategy, UAPS for Data project aims at increasing the dataset fairness through the catalog mechanism for interoperability and synchronization that Andrea described just before. And it takes advantage of the experiment to test these mechanisms. In the second release of the data management plan, it was described how the project centrally addresses these aspects, and the aspects of making dataset findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable through the catalog. And this is what the mechanism is the one that Andrea explained. Ethics, that is assessing and monitoring possible ethical issues arising from the usage of data, and security, And the security aspect has been addressed by doing a mapping of the security of each center, of each DIH, on an internationally recognized standard. I will give you some detail about this last point. So as it is not possible to measure security, it is possible to measure conformance to a prescribed standard, and this is what we did. And we adopted the standard, the ISO 27001, which describes best practices for an information security management system by identifying 114 controls that should be used to manage a security risk by any organization. And the organization can choose which controls to implement on the basis of the risk assessment. So it is a risk-based approach. This means that not all the controls must necessarily be put in place, not all of them. But for those controls that are not taken into account, there must be a reason for not using them. So there must be a reason for not needing that particular control. So what we did is, based on this standard, we prepared a self-assessment template that has been filled by each DIH that provides services or data set inside the project. And it has been filled with yes or no, meaning that the control is implemented or not implemented. And if it is implemented, possibly with evidence, which procedures. Just a reference to the procedure, because the procedure are in the own language of each DIH. So, most of the time they cannot be disclosed anyway because of security reasons. So just a reference to the internal procedure. And if it is a no, if that control is not implemented, the reason for not implementing the motivation. So at the end of this, of collecting this information, a subset of these controls were analyzed for the second release of the data management plan, and the results were very encouraging because almost all of the DIHs that provided services in the first open call implement almost all the controls. And there is a quality of data to be improved by avoiding missing data. So a yes or no should be provided as an answer, and possibly provide more evidence of the implementation. And if different departments implement a different set of controls, only the department actually providing services should be described. So there is a little bit of quality of data that can be improved, but the next step is to map an increased number of DIHs over the whole set of 114 controls. Why an increased number? Because we have new DIHs that joined the federation. So for the first analysis, there were 12 DIHs, but I expect to have around 20 in the next analysis of this information. And the benefit for DIHs is for sure an increased awareness on security, because it's a very detailed template that I have to fill and check internally whether each control is implemented or not. So for sure, a very much more awareness on all those aspects. For the SME, the possibility to compare the security offer among the different DIHs in the future federation. And this methodology is virtually useful in other similar contexts. So this is it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. I think this is very practical knowledge for very real problems and challenges. So I really hope that it is useful for people and you can really reuse this knowledge and even some of the templates. I think it's a very practical way of addressing this issue. And as I mentioned before, this session is divided into two parts. So we have covered the first one. I hope we will be agile for the second one, because I know that there are some buses coming to pick you up to the dinner afterwards. And maybe before we start that, Danny, I see all my colleagues tweeting, retweeting, taking pictures, and I would like maybe to say thank you to my colleague Alba from IDC, Liliana from ITI, Jaco from BDVA, and also Ilaria from EGI, and the other colleagues that are contributing to this, because this is also making this knowledge well known and disseminated through the community and outside the community. So thank you very much for the effort you are making. And now I give you the control again, and you tell us what we will get in the second part.
Thank you, Nuria. Well, as you know, most of the ISpaces have organized physical events, part of this data week during the last 2 weeks. So if I'm not wrong, around 15 ISpaces, we have organized again physical events in our local ecosystems, again, part of the data week. So now is the time to meet here together. So for me, it's one of the most exciting moments of this data week, because again, after so many months of virtual work, after so regional events distributed all around Europe, now is the time to welcome some of the ISpaces to on stage. First, well, we thought of calling this part the ISpaces party, but actually we didn't dare to do that, not to raise so much expectation. But in any case, we will give the floor to each of the ISpaces to give a short pitch around basically the service delivery, also about some use cases or successful stories, and also the value that they are getting from the federation and from this cooperation. That's it. With no more preamble, I will call to the stage to the rest of ISpaces present in the room. So all of us, all of them, all of you can stay here together and start saying our pitches. So please, our colleagues, if you can come to the stage. Nice music, Jaco, by the way. Thanks a lot. So, well, now is the time to again the short pitch. So first, I will give the floor to, if you can charge the slides, please, now. I will, so this is the map, okay? So this is all of us together. And from then, I will give the floor to each of us, each of them to make a short pitch. And by chance, the first is Roberta. Sorry, but it was the order pre-established. So,
Today's your day, yeah?
Today's your day. So Roberta from Cineca, Italy, he will be the first one. And from that, yeah.
I'll be very, very quick. Now I speak as Cineca iSpace, which is one of the DIHs in EOS for Data, and the services that we provide in the project are, of course, infrastructural services, so computing and storage resources. And we provide two services that are advisory and development of proof of concepts. One in the machine learning solution design and implementation, and the other one is computational solution, and is the one, the kind of service that helps to parallelize and optimize algorithms and to make them scalable, and so improve the efficiency of the algorithms. And we provide access to dataset, in particular to a couple of dataset. One Mistral is on weather data, weather prediction and observation data. And the other one is data from our data center monitoring, so sensors and usage of the computational resources by the users. And finally, we provide the training courses. All these services have been asked for, have been requested by the experiments of the first open call and also of the second. And one of the experiments that were of the first open call, which is quite a success story, is Damas, where we have the SME, Gmatics, engineered its AI models on our HPC infrastructure. And by doing this, they succeeded in reducing the execution time and increased the resolution and the accuracy of the sea circulation models and the 8 of waves prediction. And as a result, we have models that replicate the ENEA mean wave physical forecast and produce a forecast over the next 5 days with hourly temporal resolution. The nowcast chains for wave and circulation for the next 12 hours, and the incast pipelines for historical analysis. And for doing that, 122,000 core hours have been consumed and 44 terabytes of data have been processed in order to reduce the AI model runtime to 15 minutes. So way less than the final target of the experiment, which was 30 minutes. And so the value from the collaboration among the iSpaces, in our opinion, is that they complement services that Cineca doesn't have. We can learn from colleagues from different organizations best practices that can improve services that we already deliver. We have increased our visibility, and we can gain new customers and also new opportunities of participating to other projects. And all this is the result of a very positive experience of collaboration in the experiments of the first open call, and a super positive experience of collaboration with the application preparation. So it's a very, very positive opinion, general opinion of the collaboration with the other DIHs. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberta. Can you? Yeah, thanks. Thank you very much, Roberta. So next, we move from Italy to Ireland, from Cineca to CEDAR. Julia Palma was supposed to do the presentation, but she's sick, unfortunately. So one colleague of hers will be the one doing the presentation. I think we have Aditya online, right? So I don't know, Aditya, okay.
I don't know if I'm on the screen or I'm visible or audible, but.
So now, welcome to the week, and you can do your pitch, Aditya. You can see the screen, services.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, perfectly.
All right, okay, then I'll begin. Thank you very much. Yes, obviously, unfortunately, my colleague Julia could not be there today because of illness, but obviously I'll be pitching in, I'll be covering for her. So yeah, about me, I'm a data scientist at CEDAR, and we are obviously involved in EU Hubs for Data project as a key iSpace. So about CEDAR, just a little bit. So we are Ireland's National Center for Applied AI. So whatever we do is applied to real world problems and real data. But we also collaborate and participate in many funding partnerships. Obviously, EU Hubs for Data is one of them, and many similar initiatives across Europe. So yeah, we also support companies, startups to kind of incubate their offering. And obviously, research R&D training is a very big part of what we do as well. And most recently, we got funding for a high-performance supercomputer called Leon. And so, yeah, we're kind of involved in the technology spectrum in Ireland, and obviously very happy to be to be an iSpace, a gold member iSpace as well. If we go to the next slide, please.
I cannot see the slide, but hopefully you are in the next one.
Okay, yeah. The success story. Basically, what I want to highlight first is a success story out of the experiments happening in EU Hubs for Data. So basically, CEDAR, then No Center from Austria, and EJ from Netherlands collaborated on an experiment with a cybersecurity firm based in Finland. And so our offering was to kind of propose a novel unsupervised approach to help them detect software vulnerabilities that can help in their cybersecurity product that they're developing. And again, I just want to highlight the importance of the collaboration here, that an SME from Finland can leverage expertise and knowledge from us in Ireland, as well as people from other countries, Europe. A couple of other success stories I can go into. One of them is forecasting renewable energy. This is for wind farms that we did with SSC Electricity, and where we used many deep learning and ensemble methods to develop a novel solution that can help them in predicting what the energy consumption would be. And very briefly, to touch upon another project, it's called Invoice Vision with Kefron, which is an innovation partnership, basically, where This is actually a very active area of AI and data science, where we're collecting many documents across multiple formats and with different fonts and text sizes and stuff, and kind of identifying target variables within documents that we can extract from. And this can really, really reduce the enormous amount of workload required to achieve this problem. So my last slide now, if you go to the next one, is basically what this federation has brought to us and what value it has given us. So, of course, we are an iSpace Gold member, and through collaborations and collaborative projects, we've enhanced our reputation, our branding visibility, which is obviously important to us as well. But we've also leveraging this shared knowledge, and it's kind of given us inspiration and learning as to how we can better ourselves, as well as contribute to the larger ecosystem in Europe. So yeah, I guess that pretty much sums it up. And thank you for your time. Grazie mille.
Thank you, Aditya, for your flexibility, and also our best wishes to Julia to recover soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
So now we are moving to the next one, which is Belgrade, University of Belgrade. Unfortunately, Drazen cannot be with us today either. He's also positive with COVID, but he was okay. He was eager to be here with us because they are one of the newcomers to the community. So it's a pity, but hopefully he will be with us in the next event. Now we move to Valencia, ITI, and I will give the floor to my colleague, Dani Saez.
Okay, thank you. I'm very happy to be here with the other iSpaces, showing what we are doing and what we have done in our previous years before EU has for data and along EU has for data. Our main value proposition in ITI iSpace is to build a node, a trusted node, an enriched node, and also an ecosystem of companies coming from industry and also from the technological part, demand and supply, in order to build iSpace, in order to build data spaces. We are doing this by a combination of our knowledge in digital transformation of companies for long years. Also, our knowledge models and tools for data exploitation, and also our own infrastructure and tools to host experiments, and which is giving us a flexibility to reconfigure or personalize this node, these services to the companies. Then we have defined our own architecture, our own stack of technologies to build this node, providing all these essential modules, data quality, governance, ingestion, storage, sharing, data processing, access control and security, and which is a data space in itself, because we are providing access or data sharing in a controlled way to companies in our ecosystem, but that is able, being part of EU has for data, for sure, to connect to other nodes and then enlarge the data space, opening the door to the companies, to our local companies, to a universe of data and AI in Europe. The services that we are implementing in this around this node are focused on three main blocks. One is the experimentation space, access to infrastructures, access to data sets, and also support to experiments. Other block focused on consultancy on data management and training, for sure, that are all there included in EU has for data catalog. About the success case or an example, what we have done in the past in ITI, I selected this one, which is related to a technological company which wanted to perform or deploy an application to improve the robotic welding process in the automotive sector. We provided this company a complete set of services, starting with the data brokering. They didn't have access to an automotive company giving the data from robotic welding machines. So we are very lucky to have an automotive cluster in Valencia. So we got this automotive company, the automotive manufacturer, and we got the data. And then we helped this company to get money to support this experiment and this project. And then we provided access to infrastructure, both this technological company and the industrial company to improve the data quality of the data set. We had in the model generation, in the predictive model generation to this technological company, and finally we did a business model to exploit the results of this experiment, of this application. This is a complete case and a complete flow that seems a success case, but maybe not too successful if we say that it took more than 2 years to develop this use case. But in my opinion, it's because it was done before EU has for data. With EU has for data, we will do in 9 months, around 9 months, because we have a lot of data sources in the data catalog, a lot of experience in manufacturing, in other DIHs, and then we will have to share knowledge and experience between us in order to accelerate this case. So this is the value that EU has for data is providing us. We can do it alone, as we did this example, but with the help of the federation, we can get more. We can get an harmonized model of iSpaces with a single message to all the European community of data, a complete and balanced catalog with shared best practices, having a European coverage and having access to more and better customers for us. Also sharing infrastructures or having access to the infrastructures of others, and the knowledge of others, and the services of others. And last but not least, maybe the most important one, we have the brand and the critical mass to get additional funding in the next periods of Digital Europe or Horizon Europe. And that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Danny. So now, again, we move to Netherlands, EGI, represented by Andrea. Hi again, welcome back.
Same people. I'm Andrea Manzi from the GI Foundation, and I presented the GI Federation, which is an international infrastructure providing advanced computing and data analytics for research and innovation. It is governed by a council that is in 2022 composed by 26 participants, 20 countries, and the International Research Organization. And the GI Federation is member of BDVA since March 2019. Together with during that year, we also started digital innovation apps with the aim of supporting, of course, the company in the adoption, test, and validation of advanced computing in order to become more competitive. Provide also an innovative environment for experimentation and training. And on the other hand, we would like also to, this digital innovation app, increase the innovation among the GI participants and facilitate the relationship between the GI and the business sector. I put here also some list of basically industrial partners where we collaborate with the SMEs. The catalog of services from AGI includes, of course, computes and storage mainly, but also services for application and security. And we deliver also training, for instance, the FITSM1. And I highlighted here what are the services that we deliver and we included in the EU Ask for Data catalog of services. So cloud container, compute, storage, data hub, notebooks, and the FITSM training. And we supported in the course of the first open call during 2021 of the project to SMEs that has been selected. And for the second open call, we are going to support another project with one SME. So as success stories, I reported these two experiments that we supported during the first open call. One has been also mentioned by Aditya before, because we collaborated together with CEDAR with that. So the IoT SESOT with the binary OI in SME, which basically develop a software in order to create cybersecurity datasets to generate accurate firmware bombs, which are software bills of materials. Try to understand for in each firmware what are the related vulnerabilities that can be included. For these particular experiments, we provided the compute and storage infrastructure towards the service developed, and in order to run off also the crunching from the firmwares in order to generate those datasets. And the SME, and during the project, we also, as part of the task also apps for data, we also integrated our storage backend with the IS connector, and we are going to expose the datasets that are being developed and via this project via IDS. And another one is ICAP. Also, we collaborated with CEDAR in that. And this particular project is building a creditworthiness and affordability assessment platform. And this particular project, we were selected to for the part of the FCSM training. So giving like consultation and training in the context of IT service management in order to improve the processes and IT service project management inside the SME, in particular for the service that they developed in the context of US sport data. And yes, that's it from my side. Thank you.
It's because you didn't include the slide about the value of the federation.
The value.
Okay.
That's fine. I suppose it's quite similar to you.
Thanks a lot, Andrea. Thanks a lot. So now we move to Poland, and I want to welcome Julius from the PSNC. So Julius, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you very much for inviting me for this event. I'm representing PSNC, which is Poznań Supercomputing Networking Center, which is, I'm not the main person of PSNC involved in these activities here, but I am not here by accident, I hope. I was the person, and my department was involved directly in the conducting the experiments in EU Hub for Data scenarios. So maybe just to explain the context of my presentation, I will say just a few words about the PSNC, which is, as I mentioned, one of the biggest supercomputing center in Poland. And of course, we are providing the computational and storage, computational power storage and networking for the scientific institutions in Poland. But of course, we are also very strongly collaborate with commercial companies. We have started this kind of activities several years ago, and one of the results of these activities in collaborating with companies was the digital innovation hub called HPC for Poland. So at the beginning, we were trying to attract the SMEs for using the HPC resources in a way like scientists are doing it. But of course, it was very difficult because nobody from SMEs would like to use the queuing systems for submitting their jobs. Yeah. So we quickly realized that we need to try to provide some added value on the top of the resources that we have, and to provide some functionalities which would be much more useful and much more easier to use for the end users. So the next step and our involvement in EU Hubs for Data initiative and in the scenarios. So we proposed a few services which were around the big data processing, some generic big data processing based on Apache, Spark, Hadoop technologies, some IoT services that we have, and semantic data, link data pipelines. But the most, let's say, successful and chosen by the SMEs service was a service which was built on the top of our big data stack, and which was about processing satellite images, which we called Geospatial Toolkit. So for this, let's say, we had 3 scenarios in EU Hubs for Data call, and we are supporting 3 companies, 3 SMEs with our service, and more or less these were very similar activities, similar, let's say, data pipelines, but we had to really prepare some dedicated services for all three, let's say, SMEs. But more or less, all of them were based on processing satellite images and generating some tabular, let's say, data concerning the indexes in the current places, in the different places in a terrain. So what was, from our perspective, the most important issue was to make it in a scalable and a flexible way, so we could provide the easy interfaces for our clients, let's say. But as I said, from the point of view of SMEs, the most important issue was to make it the easiest way, let's say, and not to involve much effort, technological effort from their side. So this is the lesson that we learned, that working with data, we need to be prepared to it's very difficult to create some generic service which would be useful for everybody. We need to collaborate, we need to create some services which are dedicated and process the data in a way that it's useful for the clients and for the business model they have. Okay, I have put some short-term and long-term values from Federation. Of course, it was very important for us to be in this service list and to be able to check our abilities to serve the SMEs in the context of these experiments, which is kind of important visibility for us and working. We, of course, we were able to somehow improve our work, improve our services, find some important issues that could be solved to better serve the requirements of the end user. And of course, there are some long-term value from Federation, which is strong relation with other DIGs, access to wide range of services. We can offer the other services of other DIGs in our environment, let's say, in our communities, which are much stronger related and much stronger collaborate with us locally. And of course, we are very much interested in increasing the interoperability between the services and adopting the standards that appears in these communities. And I think that's important issue that for future for us. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Julius. Thanks a lot. And now, coming back to Spain, to Barcelona, Joan from Eurecat.
Thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. I will explain the CIDAI, the Center of Innovation in Data Technologies and Artificial Intelligence. This is our iSpace today. And as you can see, CIDAI is an association, is a kind of public-private partnership, because this association is somehow supported by institutional components like the Catalan government or the Barcelona City Council. Very important in this association is the participation of private companies, as the ones that you see here, Microsoft, Entity Data, SAP, or SDG. And also a number of research and technology organizations, like, for instance, Barcelona Supercomputing Center, the Center of Computer Vision in Barcelona. And the whole thing is managed and somehow led by Eurecat, my own organization. But it's important to say that the origin of CIDAI is actually in the previous, let's say, source as iSpace, which was the Big Data Center of Excellence. That happened in 2015 till 2020. And this is the Big Data Center of Excellence, is the one that really got the stamp of being an iSpace. But in 2020, we enlarged this Big Data Center of Excellence. Actually, we rebranded, we really changed it, and it gave birth or origin to this CIDAI, Center of Innovation in Data Technologies and Artificial Intelligence. I would like also to say that SIDAI is one of the nodes of the Digital Innovation Hub for CAT. We are waiting for the results of the European Commission about European Digital Innovation Hubs, but I put this logo here because we've got the reassurance by the Catalan government that whether this DIH will be funded or not, they are really committed to make it work. So I think it's important to say, or it's interesting to say that in any case, we will also be the artificial intelligence node of this digital innovation hub. So what we are doing, actually, our main objective, our mission, I would say, is to bring real innovation based on data technologies and artificial intelligence to the companies, to the particularly the SMEs that we have in our region, in the Catalan region, which is quite rich in this kind of organizations, the proper administration and the society in general. And we try to do this by means of three main group of tasks or group of activities. Technological innovation, very important. And we do that by implementing high impact projects, all of them based on artificial intelligence in data, proof of concepts. We offer a service of link diagnose for small companies to test what is their maturity level concerning this kind of technologies. And indeed, we can provide as well facilities coming or stemming out from all the members of the SIDAI, high performance computing facilities, GPU computation, vehicle, electrical vehicle or autonomous vehicle simulators, etc., etc. We also do training, and we take advantage of the amount of knowledge that we have in our members, SIDAI members, and we do a number of master classes and specialized workshops through the year. And also, and this is very important as well, we do quite a lot of dissemination activities. We stimulate the creation or the writing of sectorial white papers concerning artificial intelligence in different sectors. We do sectorial networking sessions with companies, and we also do this exercise with our public administration, with the Catalan government, because they want to be early adopters of artificial intelligence-based solutions, and we try to help them in doing so. And as a matter of success stories, I will not spot specific projects, but just to say, for instance, that since the creation of SIDAI 2 years ago, for instance, we have implemented 5 high impact projects. Just to give you one example, one of those impact projects was, and we're talking about projects in the order of 100K, adding up all the contributions of all the members. So for instance, one of them was dealing about the use of deep learning to solve problems related to health. We were working with 3 cases, lung diseases, bronchial diseases, and kidney diseases, all of them investigated and dealt with the implementation of deep learning based models. Okay, the figures are the number of events and activities that we have done in each category, I would say. And what can we bring to the Federation? Indeed, very similar to the contributions by the other IDHs, but indeed we can bring a mature technology background concerning data space architectures. We can bring as well a relevant small and medium enterprise of companies that may enrich the whole ecosystem, maybe by, or for example, by participating on the cascade funding of EU Hubs for Data. We also have a very active part of the Catalan government, which really is willing to deploy open data and open government, and they are also interesting, let's say, allies to work with. And indeed, we can provide a connection to the European chain of the digital innovation hubs through the DIH for CAT. And then SIDAI is also a partner for financial support rising, because all the different members of SIDAI are also very interested in, participating in European projects or Spanish or Catalan funded projects. And this, at the end of the day, is a good source of funding with keeping in mind the future of the CIDAI and the whole federation in that case. And that's it. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Joan. So finally, we have to change the name to iSpace. We have to change the name from Eureka to CIDAI. Yes. Sooner or later. So thanks a lot. So next, iSpace, also in Spain. So not by chance, there are 5 iSpaces from Spain. So welcome, Vega from Aragon.
Okay. Thank you. I'm Vega Rodrigo Alvarez. I work at Innova as a project manager, but today I'm going to talk about the Aragon DI8. Aragon DI8 is the Aragonese initiative that makes tangible 2 Aragonese strategies, the Aragon Economic and Industrial Promotion Strategy, and also the Aragon Smart Regional Strategy. Both are shaping the technological and innovative action of the Aragonese innovative system. There are 3 funders of the Aragon DIAs that are the Technological Institute of Aragon, Innova, the Aragonese Institute of Development, and also the University of Zaragoza. The iSpace, as a technology competencies and excellence center, is the core and the seat of the Aragon DI8. Being Innova and the University of Zaragoza, the technological and innovative enablers of the initiative. Innova offers artificial intelligence services in many different sectors like industry, smart government, health, agri-food. And the University of Zaragoza counts on the Supercomputing Center of Aragon, which is offering high-performance computer services. Both competence centers have been able to bring together these technologies under the umbrella of Aragon DI8, involving the most relevant agents in the region, such as technological universities, public administration, national and regional authorities, incubators, accelerators and investors, industry associations, chambers of commerce, enterprise European network, economy and innovation development agencies, technological providers and manufacturing services companies. The Competence Center hosted by Innova and focused on big data, artificial intelligence and cognitive system is well positioned as a partner, network member or open calls beneficiary in projects like I4MEs, I4Trust, DH World, is participating also in the main projects such as EU Has for Data and DigiBrain. In networks such as DIH2 and Bowie and corridors related to the aforementioned technologies. We are also participating actively in several national and European platforms like Planetic, Connected, Industria Conectada 4.0, at national level and also in European level like BDVA, Robotics, Alice, EFRA. Aragon DIH had proven to be a valuable marketplace and service delivery in main European DIH networks as a project partner members and also helping SMEs in different open calls. It's also a valuable hub for a regional ecosystem, being an innovative ecosystem one-stop shop at the regional level, focus on the target technology of the iSpaces. And also offer key technologies like cognitive system, HPC, logistics, robotics, and intelligence system. Of course, we also participate in different open calls that EU Has for Data launch. We participate in 3 experiments in the first open call, and now we have in 4 ongoing projects. And that's all.
Thanks a lot, Vega. So now we move to the nice city of Luleå, the north of Sweden. So Janet, representing RISE.
Oh, thank you. It's so nice to be back. I was missing this spot. Luleå, I was working with data centers and everyone knew where Luleå was. They have never been there, But since Facebook chose Luleå as a site, the first site out of United States, everyone in data center business knew where Luleå was. And that's why RISE actually is in Luleå, because we started with the research in data centers. So all the success stories are mostly on data centers to be more energy efficient, or on edge computing with 5G or 6G, since we are working so much with connectivity or space, because we are close to the North Pole, so we have a lot of good satellite images. This is, I'm also hoping and waiting for the decision of being a European digital innovation hub. And so this is how we are going to work and how we work today. To actually, I don't know if you remember this picture where I showed you. ICE is like a small supercomputing center with a lot of compute power and also a lot of different experts. So when we meet companies, we meet mostly companies that are quite skilled. So we help them to do experiment on ICE. And then we help them with different things to actually test before they do the investments. So this is a picture of how we are going to work. I'm not going to do this so much more now since everyone wants to go to dinner. This is also something that we are working with a lot regional and local and national, because we are trying to combine all of this. And I think most of all the digital innovation hubs do. One thing that also we are doing, since we have so much compute power, we are working with the different national highest performing computing centers, also to enhance the capability of companies to use the infrastructure and also to work to do platform work on European systems. So I hope that I will see you in Luleå and we can show you all about the good experiments we can do in the facility. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Janet.
Thanks a lot, Janet. And now the last presentation will be from our colleague Daniel, and I will especially want to thank you for being here, because they are one of the new members of the group. So it is your first time with us. So I would like to welcome Daniel. He's representing Digital Innovation Hub for AI and Security from L3S. So now, welcome again, and the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. So I know I'm the last one, and I'm sure that you enjoyed the presentation so much that you don't want it all to end. So I prepared an especially long presentation. Well, just kidding. So then you're just having a heart attack. So yeah, I just wanted to quickly introduce you the DIH for AI-Sec. That's our digital information hub for digital innovation hub for artificial intelligence and cybersecurity. And our mission is really to support local companies, regional companies, and the public sector in the application and development of AI technology and cybersecurity technology. And in both, we have actually, we are very lucky because we have really a strong team there. We have L3S as one of the leading research organizations in Germany in AI. And we have also the CISPA as a core partner, who is by now #1 in the world for cybersecurity research. And we are basically looking at the metropolitan region of Hanover, Braunschweig, Göttingen, Wolfsburg. It's very active industrially. So one of our big companies everybody knows in the area is Volkswagen. And but there are then lots of also SMEs who are actually supplying this whole big industrial production center. And therefore, our focus application areas are also built around our region, which is production, mobility, and skilled crafts. And in all these areas, again, we have really leading expertise locally with the corresponding research and also economic development organizations. So our services, well, each of these services is actually already kind of a success story. So we are doing digital maturity analysis for SMEs. We are doing consulting in artificial intelligence in various forms for various companies, including, of course, Volkswagen, but also insurance companies. We have with CISPA a startup incubator, which is doing then help for these startups in the area of cybersecurity. We have a bunch of demonstrators that we've developed in the past. One example is, for example, a demonstrator for central production control is actually running in a model factory. We have also with our many associated partners, lots of opportunities for SMEs to get financial financing, consulting, and innovation consulting. In terms of training, we have an AI qualification project. We have a management seminar, which is where you can actually qualify as a digitization manager. And we have also lots of networking opportunities, for example, bar camps that are organized locally. So becoming an iSpace Silver Label was, of course, a big honor for us, and it just gives us the opportunity to expand our network and collaborations, hopefully also here at this event, and also to tap into a large pool of resources that is offered by the BDVA and EU H4D. And of course, it gives us also a seal of approval. So when we are now approaching SMEs, companies, and also potential partners, we can then tell them, yeah, we are an iSpace member. Yeah, thank you. That was all.
So thanks a lot, Daniel, again, for being here with us. And okay, with this presentation, we're basically are done. So I think it was a good representation of all the iSpaces. We are a huge group growing every year, but I think all of them here provide a very good representation again. So
I think we managed to give visibility to the members of the federation. That's what we wanted, because there's a lot of people working on that with a lot of resources, services, infrastructure, and sometimes we don't have time to provide details about them. So we thought that they deserve also this time on a stage. And I would like maybe to make a remark. If you go to the EU Hubs for Data website, you will also find a page where you can find additional information of all the members of the federation. And also, if you're interested in the experiments that they are running with the SMEs, and you saw some examples this morning, you can also go to the website where you will find also detailed information about the SMEs, the startups, and the specific experiments they are running in the federation. So I think it's interesting content for you.
thank you, Nuria. So with that, we close the session. And so a big applause to our colleagues here, to our colleagues.
Thank you, Daniel and Nuria. It has been fantastic and a very impressive session. We are so proud of this community of iSpaces. I'm personally very proud. Very proud. I think you want to take a picture, and in the meantime, I think I will explain a few things. So please stand up there, go. And so for everyone, you know, we have another session now. No, it's a joke. Thank you for being with us the whole day. Now we are finishing the first day. I want to give a special thanks to my colleagues, Jaco, Matti, and Sina. They will stay with us tomorrow as well, but they are really supporting the whole event. And now we have dinner. First, we have buses waiting for us, so I think we need to leave quite quickly. Otherwise, I'm gonna smile for the picture. So now you have the buses waiting for you. The buses we will show, I think in a moment. No, you can see it now on the screen. That take us to the city and will leave us very close to the dinner place. But most of you have to go to the hotel first, but just for you to know. For the dinner, remember, if you are a man, you need to bring a tie and a jacket. That's what it is. And dinner is at 8 o'clock. And tomorrow we will be together again at 9 in the morning. There will be a lot about data spaces tomorrow. Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure, and see you later in the dinner. Thank you. Bye-bye.